this in June. Now, basketball notes. Jalen Bridges went to West Virginia, transferred to Baylor, had a really good year for Baylor, announced that he is entering the NFL draft, but also will keep his options available open to come back and play for Baylor this year. That's not a surprise. He should put his foot in the water, should test it, get some feedback from the NBA and scouts and whatever else. Paul, Craig, you expect him to be able to stay? You expect him to come back or go and get in the draft?
I think he'll be back at Baylor. I think he's going to go in. He'll hear some things that are going to be productive, but much like a lot of the other guys that have done this, he'll come back and he'll be at Baylor next year. I think that he's still got a little bit of a ways to go. I think he's a very viable NBA prospect in the future, especially since he's projects out as kind of a 3-and-D wing, and that's what they love in the NBA right now. So, he'll get there, but I don't think it's this draft go round.
Yeah, I partially agree. I'll ask you guys this because I saw Kendall Kaut basically asking this question. He was talking about, I guess it was back when he was talking about, Adam Flagler. How much better is Jalen Bridges going to get to change his draft stock between now and next year?
It's a really good question.
So,
I thought he had his best year.
If you're Jalen Bridges and your ceiling is what? What is his ceiling? Let's just say it's like whatever it is. Is he going to break through that ceiling by doing really any – is there any super realistic chance that he breaks through into a lottery pick next year with the way he plays?
I don't think so.
No, he's not going to probably move much further than he is right now, right? And you could say that about some of these other guys that are testing the NBA draft waters. So unless you're getting NIL money to stay in college, what's the point of coming back unless you just really love it? If your goal is the pros and you're going to be basically selected where you'd probably be selected at your highest anyways, coming off a year like, the one that he just had, how much better does he get by coming back to Baylor or Adam Flagler or any of these other number of guys? Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, Paul made this comment. Maybe the NBA will say, listen, you did this, this, and this, but why don't you go and let Scott Drew and his staff help you here because this is what we think you still need to do better.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible. I don't know how much they're interested, though, in that developmental part of these guys individually and how much they're like, okay, what can you do for us? I don't know that they're, playing the parental role. I know sometimes there is that advice of like, hey, no, you need to go back to the draft. But for some of these, like these aren't like freshmen and stuff leaving. These are like veteran seasoned guys. Like how much better are they going to be by hanging around college ball longer would be my only question. And some of them may benefit from being back for another year. I just don't know, is Jalen Bridges definitely one of those guys, or is he basically splitting hairs by coming back to college versus just taking whatever is out there as, potentially a second-round pick or whatever he may be viewed as right now? I'm just saying I don't think it's a surefire thing that he's back, in my opinion. But maybe he's got a higher percentage to return, and if so, that would be great. I know that there was some debate about, how this roster would shake out. And, you can say what you want about, that guy will be back and that guy will be back, but Flo Thamba's gone, Keontae George is gone, Dale Bonner's gone, LJ Cryer's gone, Adam Flagler's gone, Jalen Bridges is gone, Langston Love is gone.
Langston Love.
Or not, Zach Loveday's gone. I know Zach Loveday, for example, is not a –
he's not going to move the needle.
Right. That's not a one spot that you're all that worried about, respectfully, but that's over half your roster right there. And I understand they went out in the second round, so it's not as though you're overhauling a national championship team, but that's a lot of firepower that you're suddenly just going like, oh, that'll be back, or I will go on. And so they're going to have a very busy, obviously we saw them pick up Nunn last week,
VCU,
N-U-N-N. From VCU. That's their first pickup.
They got the incoming freshman.
They got the freshman, but they're going to have to go get like 5 guys out of the portal if everybody were to stay with their decisions right now.
Flagler's still, we don't know, and Bridges, we don't know. I believe I saw a tweet that all the Baylor coaches are on the road, which they should be. That's for next year, but that's also with the portal. That I would think they have to bring in, and a lot of it depends on Bridges and Flagler, and you can't wait too long or you're going to lose them. Kind of what I was told was that, listen, there's probably 50 players in the portal that want to play for Baylor. I'm talking about among the top 50 players, a big, large chunk of them. And that you're kind of handcuffed in a little bit because of the decisions of Flagler and Bridges. And yet, there are some that understand it and can go anywhere they want and are willing to wait because they're that good that when they want to go somewhere, no one's going to tell them no.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the benefits.
That has to be what they're relying on.
Well, one of the benefits that Baylor has is they are one of the premier teams right now. So
Sure.
they don't have to scramble as if they were, Boston College right now, trying to get a guy to make themselves better for next year because the coach is trying to save his job. The coaching staff, nobody's going anywhere. Everybody's happy. They can. They know that they're going to play for Coach Drew. They know they're not like auditioning and trying to save a guy. They're not. So yeah, they've got that, but they do. They need to move in the.
May 31st is the NBA draft withdrawal deadline. That's a long way from now.
Yeah, I would say though, like this team maybe lacks a little experience, and if they go into next year without some big changes, then they're not going to be considered at the top of the Big 12, competing with Kansas and Texas and probably Houston, for all those, for the spot in the championship. But I do think that building more towards where they can have a veteran team is what's going to work for them long term, because that's why they won it when they did. They were a veteran team. This team did not really have that much time together this last year. If you think about it, the lineup that they had, and that's college basketball now, but the more that you can get a veteran team that most of the core guys are together for a long time, the better shot you have to make deep runs year after year while those guys are there.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the state of the program or anything, but, if you're talking about college basketball and the importance of having veteran leadership, well, if these guys' decisions don't sway back the other way, then you're losing every ounce of leadership that you basically had and experienced last year. Nearly across the entire roster. What's coming back that's – if everybody just stays status quo, who's coming back next year that's got just a boatload of experience that you can rally around and, base your Big 12 aspirations on? Very little right now.
Yeah, because even Langston Love has not played a lot,
right,
because of injuries. His first year missed all of it and then missed some time last year, and then he had the fluky eye injury too.
Yeah, so it's interesting. There's just potentially an immense amount of turnover. I'm not nervous about it or worried about it. I know they've got plans in place, and a lot of this was expected to begin with, but when you look at it on paper, it's still – you're like, okay, well, how's this going to work out if things stay status quo?
Yeah, they're out digging around right now and making looking at maybe